I can't help but be invested in this poor little boy Gus that has gone missing in South Australia, because to me nothing adds up. And I know I probably don't know absolutely everything because I'm not the police working, but from the outside and what they're giving us, nothing at all makes sense. So if you're in Australia or you're overseas and you're following along with the story, or you don't exactly know, let me give you a little bit of an insight. So this little boy, he was 4, his name was Gus, and he was at like a property in the middle of the country, pretty much in the middle of nowhere, with no close neighbours, with his grandparents. And quote, "We looked away for just a moment," which just is in my head. Like, it doesn't make sense. How can you just look away for a moment? Your grandkid was in the sandpit and you looked away for a moment and he was gone. Apparently they didn't call the police for like 3 hours or something like that. And they had Polera, they had the dogs there, I believe. There were so many people on the ground looking for this kid and no one found him. There's no footprints. They had trackers come in, like professional trackers, and all they found was like dingo footprints and like animal footprints. They found no traces of kids' footprints. This kid is 4. He's not going to choose the hardest track possible. He is going to find somewhere that is easiest to walk. If he came up to a bush, he's not going to walk through that bush. He's going to be shit scared. I do want to add, someone came on, I think it was a family friend, and said, please stop making conspiracy theories, which I'm not making conspiracy theories. I'm genuinely just confused. But she said, please stop making conspiracy theories. There are 6 fences to get into this property. This kid was not abducted. And she stated like it would be very hard for someone to come through and take this kid, which to me doesn't make sense, because honestly, an adult coming through 6 fences is far easier than a kid walking out 6 fences. Do you think if a kid, like a 4-year-old kid, saw a fence, he'd be like, oh, I miss my mummy, I'm going to jump over this fence? Like, surely not. Like, an average 4-year-old could walk maybe, let's just say 5 to 10 kilometers. Plus, it's proven, even with adults, like, if we're lost, we're going to walk around in circles. Like, unless you know how to direct yourself and, like, navigate by the sun or the moon, there's no way that you're going to just keep walking straight. Also, do you guys remember that young autistic kid that went missing maybe 2 to 3 years ago in that really dense bushland? Like, I'm talking like really thick scrub. And he was found, I think, 2 to 3 days later, drinking by a creek. Like, he was like 200 to 500 meters away from where he first initially went missing, and he was found literally drinking by a creek. Don't you think that this kid, if he was thirsty, he knew that there was dams on this property, he would go and drink some water, maybe potentially he could be found there? Then why have no family members spoken up about this kid? If this was my kid, I would be all over social media, all over the news, like giving everyone every little bit of insight to this kid to figure out where he could be. But instead, it's only friends that are speaking on this kid. I don't know if there's something going on that no one knows about, like, you know, like maybe, like I said, like there's speculations around like child protection or things like that. But like, why are the parents not speaking? You go into a bush, like think about it. If we're going to go on like a bushwalk, you see trails from other people, like in the sand and the dirt, or from animals, right? It hasn't rained. So where are these kids' footprints? If this kid has wandered, surely like where they are, it's like dirt, like in sand. Like, surely the kids' footprints would be there for someone to track it, or like the dog would pick up a scent. It was last seen in the sandpit. Surely walking out of that sandpit, there's going to be footprints. Like, I'm so confused, and I just want to know like what the heck is happening. Like, where is this kid? Like, I get there's so many places to hide on that land, but a kid that age just doesn't vanish. Like, just like it's, I'm honestly speechless.